Yo, what's up, man? Welcome to this Redbull Ring lap guide. I know it's been a long time since I last did a lap guide, and I'm sorry. But now we're here, okay? Now we're here. Yeah. I actually like this track. It's not too bad. It's pretty good. I did a kind of like a couple of active resets, but it's all right. We got it in the end, yeah. Like I got a decent lap in the end, okay? So, going into turn one, you have to drive over these lovely curbs. Last season, these curbs were not 3D. Now we have 3D curbs, so now we can feel it in the ass. When we drive over them. Last time we couldn't feel them, but now we can feel them. So, they are quite tricky, but you can learn them. But I feel like there's also some RNG to them. Like if you hit them wrong, or if you hit them, sometimes the car just over-rotates and it's just out of nowhere. If you're careful, you can definitely do it consistently, but it's really hard to do fast every time, consistently. But let me show you. When we go into the corner, we are braking a little bit after the 150 meter board, between 150 and 100 meter. We brake. You want to brake so your two tires are on the green stuff. You don't want to brake on the curb. So you want to brake when the right side and the left side tires is placed like this. So you want the left side tires to be on the green stuff when you brake, okay? So brake a little bit between the 150 meter board and the 100 meter board. And then as soon as you start turning off the curb, you want to get off the brake pedal. You want to get off your brake pedal, okay? But when you get off this curb, you want to be careful on your steering wheel. So you don't want to be too aggressive. Before you could be way more aggressive. Now you have to be more careful when you go off the brake and you go onto the steering wheel. You add some angle because this curb, it will make the car rotate even more. So you have to not counter steer, but you have to kind of like imagine that you're holding your steering wheel a little bit straight when you're going over this curb. Because if you have too much angle, the rear will lock and then you slide. Just be careful from the transition from here to the road or to the actual, let's say, racetrack. And then you hit turn one like this. If you hit turn one even more, if you take even more curb, you will bounce a lot. Really try to avoid this sausage and get as close as you can to it. And then as soon as we hit this curb, as soon as we hit this with the front wheel, we get on the throttle. I would recommend to stay in third gear here, stay in third, because that way we keep momentum up and we don't slow down the momentum by going into second. Because when you're going down into second, I constantly lost like 2/10. I mean, you could take it in second, but it's just slower because you have more engine braking and then the car brakes a lot. So I would highly recommend stay in third here, keep the momentum up in the car, and carry that through the corner and out on exit here. Really easy to get an off track here. I don't know how this is not an off track, but it's not an off track. I promise it was not an off track. Here we go next. We go up to the hairpin. This is simply also just a lovely corner. I love this corner, man. This is so good. Like you have to, again, we have 3D curbs in this corner as well. So you can feel it in the ass when you drive over them. I love the 3D curbs. They're so amazing. Yeah, bro! This fucking car, I'm gonna drive off a cliff. No. I'm driving off a cliff as we speak. No. Between the 150 and 100 meter board, we start to brake. And again, slow application on the brakes. When we go down to first gear here, now, here we get off the curb again. This is 3D curbs, we can feel it in the ass, okay? You want to, again, imagine that you're kind of like keeping your wheel straight when you get over this curb. So as soon as you start turning, you can turn a little bit aggressive initially, but when you get to that crossover section, like here, as soon as you get to this point where the left side of the tire hits the curb, you want to kind of straighten up a little bit. Just be a little bit more careful of adding the steering angle. And then when you've gone the crossover part and you cross the curb and gone the rotation and the car feels okay, you just keep turning the wheel, getting that extra rotation, just yank it, kind of. And then we want to get as close again to the sausage here as possible. And you want to stay in first gear. And then as soon as we hit it with the front tire here, we want to apply throttle. So as soon as the front tire hits here, we want to apply like 30 to 20% throttle to keep the car kind of stable throughout the exit here. We had a little bit of a slide, it's all good. Could be a little bit better, but it's a really tricky corner. The car gets really loose because yeah, it's a lot of elevation change here, big bump and stuff. Try to stay away from this yellow sausage and this curb. It will only lose your speed when you drive on it because again, it's 3D curbs. So they kind of lose your speed if you didn't know. So here we go down again, simply lovely, another 3D curb. We love them, they are so nice. Here we brake at around, there's a part in the track I can actually see here. A little bit before this rubber mark, you see this rubber? So as soon as I get to the first part now, I start braking. Slow application on the brake, slow application on the brake. And when we cross over here again, imagine that your steering wheel is straight, but as soon as you've crossed over now, and the car is stable, now we can add steering angle. Now you can add steering angle to the car. You want to take as much curb here as possible because this curb helps rotate the car when you take this. So this gives you a little bit more rotation going through the corner. So W curb, take this. Now here you can go 2 wheels out on the green stuff here, but I don't really recommend it because it's kind of hard sometimes to get back on the road or back on the, like, let's say, racing line because of, again, the 3D curbs. They are, bro, I swear, man. Fucking 3D curbs. Yeah, it's kind of hard to get back on the road because it's 3D curbs. So I would recommend try to just stay here. It will also save you maybe a little bit of tires because you're not spinning them on the 3D curb and battling, trying to get on to the track again. So try to stay away from it. Brake again between the 100 meter board and 50 meter board. Here you want to keep very, very stable pressure. And again, imagine you're holding your wheel straight. Actually, you can see I'm going into the corner and my wheel is straight. I just add a little bit of braking pressure because that helps the front end to get in. And then I add a little bit of steering. And as soon as the car kind of like made this shift in the weight and it kind of like starts to point into the turn, I just loosen up on the steering wheel. So you can see now I braked. And now I'm kind of loosening up on the steering wheel. I'm kind of like finding the balance of the car. So I'm not constantly turning. And now that I've kind of like found the balance and the car is more stable, I start turning the wheel even more. So this is you have to be very patient going into the corner. So very little braking and very little steering to keep the car settled for the corner. And then as soon as you have the stability in the car, you can add a little bit more steering angle and then get on the gas. Down here, it's the same. Brake a little bit before this curb ends right now. And then you want to again add a little bit of brake and a little bit of steering angle. And as soon as the car has this like pointy thing where it's like, okay, now it's pointing into the corner and you can feel that, loosen up on the steering wheel, loosen up a little bit, just loosen up a little bit. And now right here, we have found the balance of the car by like loosening up on the steering wheel. So now we have found the balance and now we can add a little bit more steering angle to the car because now the car is balanced and it's stable. So now we add a little bit more, going through the corner on throttle, go as wide as you can. The off-track activates if you get all 4 tires off the red and white curb here. That's where the off-track activates. We were lucky we didn't. And now we're going down to the fast corner, one of the fastest corners on the track. So we brake at the 100 meter board. And again, here the same. You cross over the curb here, which is 3D curb, so it gives you a lot of rotation. Try to keep, when you cross over, just keep the steering wheel a little bit more straight. And then as soon as you are right here, now we can add a little bit more angle to the steering wheel because the car is stable. Here, the off-track activates on the green stuff here. So if you're, like, if the tire is here, you will get an off-track. We're lucky we didn't. I get a little bit of an off-track down here, which is unfortunate because it was really a solid lap. And here again, it's the same here. 3D curbs, the car is really unstable on them. So add a little bit of steering and be really careful on your brake and your steering going into this corner. and then just take as much curb as you can here in the last corner. I took a little bit too much, but as you can see, like it was really close not to activate the off track, because the off track activates when your wheels are off the white line here. So yeah, it was really close. It was really close to be clean. But it is what it is. It's an off track. It is what it is. Unlucky. Be really careful when you're going off this curb again. Like keep the steering wheel kind of straight when the car is pointing in, and then as soon as you're off, add some steering angle. And then throttle wide as you can. Yeah, and that's a lap of Red Bull Ring. I hope you liked it. It was a 28.5. So yeah, I hope you liked it. If you want some coaching, if you want me to go into even more details, you can book a time on my website. It'll be down in the description, okay? And if not, well, see you next video or on the stream, okay? Ciao, ciao!